The question is, how do you want to experience God? I want to experience God when I see Him giving me the assignments to go share the gospel, to care for people, to love people, to be kind to people. Well, then I got to orient myself toward God in that way. Hardened hearts experience God differently than humble hearts. David knew the truth of this. In this moment in Psalm 18, he experienced a God that related to David's righteousness by delivering him from all these mortal enemies. But there was a time, that's also written in the Bible, where David went astray because of his pride and his sin. And it had to do with Bathsheba. And his sin was so grievous, and he didn't want to be found out, he had Bathsheba's husband killed in battle, Uriah the Hittite. But here's the tragedy of that. Uriah, if you look up the 30 mighty men of David, Uriah was one of the 30 mighty men. Arguably, these men, in all of human history, nobody has been more proficient in hand-to-hand combat than the 30 mighty men. Some of them killed hundreds of people in the same day. Recorded as taking their weapons away from them and using their own weapons. These were incredible warriors. And Uriah was one of them. Do you realize that Uriah was so faithful, he would give his life for David? But David in this moment was so sinful that he made Uriah die for David's sin. And David experienced the wrath of God in that moment because Nathan the prophet went to him and confronted him. In Psalm 18, David experienced this God who delivered him. But when Uriah the Hittite was murdered by David's order, in fact, Uriah carried his own execution orders in a letter that was sent to Joab. David experienced the same God, but in a different way. Same God, but this time, God was going to bring David back to a right standard. Fortunately, David was humble enough to confess. Same man, same God, two radically different experiences with that God. Because the way I experience God is based on the way I choose to relate to God. It will either be humbly and righteously, or it will be pridefully and sinfully. And either way, same God, same me, but the experience is totally different. God responds according to our spiritual posture. God opposes pride, but gives grace to humility. Humility invites God's favor, but pride invites God's discipline. Same person, same God. Am I going to invite the favor of God or the discipline of God? Humility invites God's favor. Pride invites God's discipline.